Alright, so this is going to be another update video for Paul's Old Crap. What I'm going to do is just basically talk about what I've got going on for my vintage computing hobby. I think the last video I did as an update was several months ago, and I haven't really done a whole lot of anything else. What I'll do at the end of this video is I'll kind of explain how I work with my YouTube stuff. But yeah, before we get into all of that boring crap, I'm going to show off what I've purchased recently. I'm going to start off with the big box software. All of this comes from the local Value Village store where I live. I don't find this often there, but I actually did go just like a couple hours ago, and I did pick up NASCAR Racing 2. I do kind of like the racing games. One of the reasons why I did pick this up is because it's a Sierra game and because it is a big box game, and I've started to collect these. And this was only $3.99, so, you know, it's not breaking the bank, so I might as well collect this stuff whenever I can, just so it doesn't get thrown out. I do like to preserve computing history, so yeah, it's a fairly decent quality box, so I was pretty happy with this. These other ones, I picked these up not actually at the same time. I originally picked up a copy of Stronghold, the Empire Earth, and Caesar 3. I picked these three up at the same time, and I had this copy of, what is it, Cutthroats. I left this one behind because the box was a little kind of ripped up in a couple places. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but I didn't really want to bother with this one. I did go back later and pick it up, though, obviously, since I do have it here. Since all of these games here follow the same theme, what I think happened is someone actually, like a single person, had all of these and then donated them to the Value Village. Because otherwise it would be strangely coincidental to have like these medieval type games all show up randomly, like at the same time at the store. But actually, aside from Caesar 3, I hadn't heard of any of these other games. So what I did is I actually played this copy of Stronghold on a Windows 98 laptop that I'll display in a couple minutes here. And I've actually already got a video of my gameplay for Stronghold on my YouTube channel. So if you've got nothing better to do than to spend 40 minutes watching me play this game, you can do that by checking out the other videos on my channel. These are slightly newer than the type of software I would normally go for at the store. So, like the requirements, it's Windows 95 and up and 300 megahertz. So, I mean, it is obviously still an old game, but I prefer to find the stuff that's really geared toward low-end Pentiums and stuff like that. So I was actually using a Pentium 3 to play this game when I tried it. So it's a bit of a newer game than I would normally prefer, but yeah, like I mentioned with the other game, I pick it up to preserve the history, and like this was also fairly cheap. Well, $5.99, so I mean that's not bad at all. Yeah, so this was Cutthroats, Terror on the High Seas. So this one does require Pentium 200 and Windows 95. I'll probably do a video on this game because it looks pretty nice from screenshots that are on here. And yeah, this one was also $5.99, so it's not bad. This one, Empire Earth Gold Edition, and it's a Sierra game, so I like collecting Sierra games. Some sort of medieval role play. I don't know. Another game I haven't heard of, but box is in, you know, it's in decent shape. And this is Pentium 2 350 is required. And this was $3.99. I don't understand the difference in pricing when it's the same thing, it's in the same area of the store, yet this was $2 cheaper than the other one. I don't understand. Oh well. And yeah, so we have Caesar 3, and it's another Sierra game. This, I think, is a bit of an older game than the others. So the requirements on this is Windows 95 and a Pentium 90. And the copyright on this is, well, it says 1998. So I think this is like an older game compared to the other ones. I think most of those ones that I have over there were year 2000 and up. So this is more what I like to find at the store, something that's within the 90s. And yeah, that was $3.99. So I'd heard of this game, I think, or maybe it was like Caesar 2, like the older version of this, I guess. I'm not entirely sure of the product line. But it looks like a neat game, and I will probably try this out and make a video on this one as well. One last actual big box software here. Now this was an odd find. This is Microsoft Encarta 1994 edition, and the box and everything inside of it is in like pristine condition. I mean, it is obviously used. I can tell there is some scuffing on the CD jewel case and the CD itself, but the box is in like near mint condition. There's really no damage to it at all. I was at the Salvation Army store in the next closest city to where I live. It's like 30-minute drive or something, and normally they only have like jewel case software. So I had picked up some jewel case software there. And while I was waiting for the line at the till to kind of clear out, because I don't stand in lines, right? That's just kind of like a weird thing about me. So instead of just standing in a line, I wandered around the rest of the store, and I went to the books area. And I had no intention of looking at books, but I figured I would just wander around and see if my eye caught anything. Well, my eye caught the word Encarta on a bookshelf. And so I looked down and grabbed this thing off the shelf, and yeah, when I saw it was actual Microsoft Encarta, I thought that was pretty strange. And when I opened it up and everything was in there, I was actually quite happy I decided to wander around. And this was $3.50. Like, that's a very nice deal. And I also do like collecting the Microsoft Home stuff. I think I've mentioned that in a previous video. And one of these days I will do a video specifically on the Microsoft Home collection. I'll go into detail about everything that I have from this collection and everything that was available. I don't know why I like that. It's just another one of those weird ass things about me, so yeah. We're gonna move on to, this is some of the smaller box stuff. I don't normally go for this stuff because I like the big box. But these titles in particular, well, I'll explain them. So this is a Sierra game. This is Half-Life. Well, Half-Life Counter-Strike. This I got at the same time as some of those other medieval ones, and the only reason I picked this up is because it is Half-Life, and I thought it'd be fun to have a copy. But also because this one, copyright on this one is 2002, and some of the other ones I had, the big box ones, I think those were like 2001. So this seems like it's right on the edge between when the PC game makers moved from the big box to the small box as a standard. So, and I'm like, it is like obviously an older game, so I don't know exactly when they changed over to the small box. But this, I think this is probably pretty close to when that happened. And also it was $2.99, so really $3. I'll buy it, I'll hang on to it forever just so it doesn't get thrown out. I don't care. Yeah. This one I picked up today, along with the Microsoft Flight Simulator. This one is Pirates Live the Life. I've never heard of this game before. It's not something in particular that interests me, but you know, when I'm going through the store and I see like the Atari logo, and let's see, the requirements, Windows 98, so This is a 2004 game, so again, it's a little bit newer than what I would normally go for. But, I mean, the box is, it's in okay shape, you know, not bad, but yeah, $3. I'll buy this and hang on to it because someday some of this stuff might be worth money, who knows. I think as the years go on, it becomes harder to find because people throw their collections away. Sometimes they donate them, and then people like me buy them. But, you know, how often would that happen? And people might be more inclined to just chuck this stuff. So, eventually, this stuff will become rarer, I think. So, this one, Flight Simulator 2004. I think I already had the jewel case of this somewhere, but I didn't have the tin case, like this metal case. Like, this is pretty neat, you know, unique PC game packaging. It's got the discs in there. It's got like a tiny little manual. So, I mean, this is a neat thing to own. And this was $2.99, so, I mean, like, not really a big deal. And it is a Microsoft game. I do like to collect the Microsoft software. I don't know why. It's just neat. So, yeah, got this today. Now, if we look at the jewel case software, this is typically when I'm buying jewel case software, it's because there's really nothing else better to find at the stores, and, you know, to make my trip worthwhile, I just buy the jewel case crap. Sometimes I might archive it or just hang on to it for whatever reason. One of my Facebook friends actually sent me this stack of software. I think he was clearing out his house, and he knows that I collect old PC games. So we've got a bunch of weird stuff here, like E.T. 20th Anniversary. I have no idea. Descent, Free Space. I guess something in the Descent series of games. This looks like it's from 1998, so yeah, I'll give that a shot at some point. EA Sports Championship Bass. Sure. Some Die Hard game from Sierra. Interesting. I don't know. The Messenger. Never heard of it, and I've never heard of any of the developers of this game. That's the manual for Die Hard. Return to Krondor. I've never heard of this either, but it's got Sierra on it. This was from a thrift store, some multimedia music games. I don't know, some random Windows CD, requires a 486. I bought this because I think I didn't find a copy of this on archive.org, so I think I might image this and be like the one guy who has a copy of this random software title. Yeah. Now this is more of the Descent stuff. Free Space. Interesting. This was like Collector's Edition Ultimate Doom Trilogy. Yeah. And if we move on to this larger stack, this is the stuff that I've bought myself from thrift stores as I visit them. I do tend to tour thrift stores quite a lot around where I live, but also in cities that are within like a 4-hour drive from where I am. If I've got really nothing better to do on one of my days off, I might hop in my car and go on a little road trip to see if there's any software that I can find. Sometimes I find neat things, sometimes I find nothing, but if there's jewel case software, I'll typically buy it just so I can justify my trip to the store. Let's start off with a few of these titles here. Microsoft Fury 3. I originally played this game a long time ago on someone's all-in-one compact computer, like a Pentium with Windows 95 or something. Um, yeah, this is some sort of like, kind of like a flight simulator combat game, I guess you could say. Um, I don't know if I had a CD copy already. I have like a digital copy of it, but figured I'd buy the jewel case because Microsoft Home. This Tomb Raider, Angel of Darkness. I've never played any of the Tomb Raider games, mainly because my computers at the time wouldn't run them, and by the time I had a fast enough computer that would play games, I was interested in other stuff. But yeah, I bought this because this was, I think, $1 at the Salvation Army. So whatever, it's $1. Again, this is like Max Payne something or other. This was $1. I don't care. I'll probably never play it. Football Pro 96 season. Only really bought this because Sierra. I don't think I'll ever play this. Oh, this was $1.99. Oof. Maybe I got ripped off there. This one, I laughed when I saw it. Diablo. This was $1 from the Salvation Army. I never really played this. I think I maybe played it once, but Diablo 2 was essentially my crack cocaine when I was in high school. I played that thing pretty much any time I wasn't in school. I was playing Diablo 2. Typically, I was playing all night, and then I'd get like 3 hours of sleep, go back into school. That one funny story is I played Diablo 2 so much that I had a bunch of essays that were due for my English class, and I didn't have enough time to write them because I was addicted to Diablo 2. So I plagiarized my homework for high school, and they caught me by running it through some internet checker thing. Um, well, to give you an idea of when this was probably the year 2000 or 2001. So, I mean, it was a long time ago. And yeah, they caught me for it, and I got hauled into the principal's office, and she said something ridiculous like, "Are you on a quest?" Which I think is reference to me being like playing this game, well, not this game, but Diablo 2, like all the time and neglecting to do any of my homework. I thought that was rather amusing. I think I made a recording of that conversation. But yeah, I got into a lot of trouble, and yeah, funny stories from my past. Here we go, Microsoft Oceans. I don't know if I'll ever, well, I might take a look at this at some point because it is Microsoft Home, and I will do a video, like I said, on this collection at some point. I don't really know what's in here, but I think this was like $1 from one of the thrift stores, or maybe even less. There was a thrift store that I went to down toward Vancouver, where I think it was like 25 cents or 50 cents for these jewel case discs. I think this might have been one of them. Anyway, let's move on to Risk for Windows 95. I have no intention of playing this. This was dirt cheap though, so what the heck. This was interesting. The Incredible Machine, Even More Contraptions. This is a Sierra game, and The Incredible Machine is one of those games that I played in elementary school way back in the 90s. I think this is like a later version of the original. I might do a video on this at some point. This is 2001, so it is significantly newer than the version that I played originally on a Macintosh computer. This one, Mac Cube, Multimedia Applications, Volume 4. I figured, whatever, I'll pick this up, maybe image the disc if it's not anywhere, but this was 25 cents, so whatever. I've got all these old Macs I'm working on to kind of get into that experience of the time, like that era. I'll pick up discs like this and throw freeware or shareware on the computers like someone might have done back in those days. I don't know. 20th Century Trivia Challenge. I don't really know or care too much about this, but it was from 1997, and this is still shrink wrapped. Um, I think I bought this just in case there's no digital copy available, and then I will image this. This Star Trek Starship Creator. This is something that wasn't on archive.org, I don't think. So I think I imaged and archived this myself. I think there was a similar title, like a newer version of this that was available, but not this one specifically. Unfortunately, this thing kind of sucks. If you look up the reviews on this, nobody's really sure what this is supposed to be. Like if it's supposed to be a game, but like you just kind of like go in. I think it's like a flash game or something like Shockwave powered. So like it's old. This is probably somewhere in the 90s, I think. And it's you kind of drag and drop, well, not necessarily drag and drop, but you kind of build some sort of ship out of a template where you can select a couple different types of options, and then after you have your ship, like there's really nothing else you do. You just spend a few minutes making a starship, and that's like the end of it, apparently. There was something where you can go on a mission with your ship, but I couldn't make anything happen. So, yeah, I only bought this just to image it. Tried it once, found it was crap. Whatever. This one, Sim Earth. These sorts of games, I'd prefer to have the full box, but it is a Maxis game. I don't mind having the jewel case. This was $3. It's not bad, I guess. This one, Microsoft Works. I might have already had a copy of this. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure what version of this. Let's see. That just says Works for Windows. And I think this is from 1994. This one, $2.99 from Value Village, and Microsoft Home. That's one of the reasons why I bought it. Moving on to our last stack here. This was Microsoft Golf. This is one of the early versions, obviously. I think it's just basically Microsoft Golf for Windows, and looks like it's 1993. It doesn't say it on the cover, however. Microsoft Home. Yeah. I've already had this game going on my old computers. I think I downloaded it from that WinWorld site. They have all of the Microsoft Golf versions, but having it on CD is neat. I think I actually used this disc when I had this 486 going, and I put the CD-ROM drive in there. So I think I actually used this either on that computer or another one to try that. You know, $1.99. Who cares? This one came from the Salvation Army, Microsoft. The Magic School Bus explores inside the Earth. Yeah, I only bought this because it is a Microsoft software title with from the Windows 95 era. That's the only reason I bought it. I don't think I have any intention of actually trying this. Because it was from Salvation Army, I think this was only $1, so who cares? This was IBM Millennium Standard Edition World Book. I don't know what this is. I think it's some sort of encyclopedia. I'm not too sure if I had to image this one for archive.org or if it was already on there. I might have imaged this and uploaded it. This was from Salvation Army. It was $1. I don't care. NHL 98, EA Sports. Don't really care about this one. I think this one might have been like another 25 cents or $1. Whatever. SimCity 4. This is usually a bit of a newer title than I would go for. I think this is one of those games that I bought just because it was the only thing left in the store, and I wanted to make my trip worthwhile. Probably the same reason I ended up with this Monopoly game. Uh, Actually, this Monopoly one I bought because it's got the Westwood Studios on there, the people behind Command and Conquer. I thought that was interesting, and that is the only reason I bought that. So that's the collection of software that I've picked up in the last, I don't know, must have been like the last 4 months. What I did also pick up from the thrift store, this is so pointless. I bought these because there was literally nothing else in the store. This was DOS for Dummies and Windows 3.1 for Dummies. This was from a Value Village in Kamloops, which is like an hour and a half or 2 hours. Well, but I think maybe about an hour and a half from where I live. And yeah, I wasn't finding any software there, and I saw these in the books area, and I thought it was actually amusing. So I figured I'm gonna buy these, and I'm gonna use them when I'm playing around with my 46. I'm gonna use these as a reference, and I don't know, just kind of recreate that experience of having a 46 with DOS and Windows 3 and having the books to go along with it. That was amusing. One of the things I picked up on eBay. This is the Pro Audio Spectrum 16 sound card. I wasn't really looking for this card, but sometimes when I'm on eBay and I'm browsing the vintage computing stuff, I'll look for items from Canadian sellers because the shipping will be a lot better than a lot of the stuff coming from the States generally. And I saw this card, and the reason I bought this, well, it was also cheap enough, so you know the money wasn't really a big deal for me. But way back when my family first bought their 486 computer, it was a 46 DX33. But I'm fairly certain the sound card that was in that computer was this, the Pro Audio Spectrum 16. Well, I only assume this because it had the software for this card on the computer. There was like a mod player and a couple mod files and other things that were specifically mentioned as being for the Pro Audio Spectrum card. I wasn't fully into computers at that time, so I wasn't too sure if that's actually what was in the computer. Eventually, my dad did upgrade the computer, and we ended up with the Creative Sound Blaster. I think it was probably the AW32 sound card to replace whatever was in the computer originally, which I suspect is this. So, you know, I was never able to find out for sure, and I didn't really care. I was more into using the computer than specifically what was inside of it. But yeah, what I might actually do is slap this sound card into my 46. I do have my Gravis Ultrasound, which I mentioned in a previous video. I don't know which of these cards will end up being the permanent card that ends up in this. Right now is a Sound Blaster 16 that I built the computer with. I am kind of leaning toward this card as the one that ends up in there. I have to do the research on the compatibility with all the DOS and Windows games, because I know that the Gravis Ultrasound might be a little less compatible, perhaps, than this one. I'll have to do a bunch of research though, so yeah, that's pretty much why I bought this. Couple other fun little items. As you can probably tell, I'm a huge fan of the Macintosh and the Apple stuff. So I don't know why, but I figured I'd just grab some of this crap. So we've got like a pin here, Macintosh Multimedia. That was kind of neat. We got this one, Macintosh Classic. And then we have an actual Apple pin. I don't really plan on getting any more of this stuff. These are just a couple random things that were pretty cheap on eBay. I figured I'd just grab these and start building a little collection of this, but This isn't what I would normally be spending my money on. I just figured what the heck, might be fun to own. Now I'm going to get into some of the bigger items. This is the PowerBook Duo 210. This was actually a pretty good deal, in my opinion. I can't remember if this was like $75 or $80 Canadian, and it was also from a Canadian seller, so shipping was fairly cheap. Comes with the power supply, and it does fire up. Pretty much everything works except the keyboard is kind of glitchy, and this was mentioned in the auction, so I knew that I would have to do some repair work to this if I wanted to use it like all the time. Like when you're typing letters and stuff, sometimes the letters might not show up, or sometimes there's a lag and it'll like double enter the letter or something like that. So, I mean, like I was able to fire this up and like use the computer. But if you were actually trying to type sentences, it would get rather annoying. And yeah, like I knew this going into it, but I bought this because I really like the Duo line of laptops, because this thing is so damn tiny. And the reason it's so damn tiny is because it really has nothing, right? There's no disk drive, no CD-ROM drive, essentially no ports. You've really just got your Duo dock port, although it does have, you've got the serial, and you've got a modem for communication. So you could network this and get files to it. But yeah, it's already got the system software pre-installed, so that's good. Otherwise I would need the dock to get anything on there, unless I want to pull the hard drive out, but didn't want to do that. Yeah, so I like the Duo laptops. That's really the only reason I bought this, and because it's not that hard to store laptops in my place. So yeah. This next one is something that I'm not even sure why I bought it. This was an IBM ThinkPad that a Canadian seller had, and it's the IBM ThinkPad 600X, which is the last version of the ThinkPad that was fully compatible with Windows 3.1, and there's actually official drivers for Windows 3.1 for this laptop. And I've never really been a fan of the IBM ThinkPads, but I must say, like, this is a well-built laptop. Compared to some of the other PC laptops I have, this thing feels sturdy, and this is actually what I used in one of my previous videos to play that Stronghold game. And I've already got Windows 98 on here, and yeah, actually it's a fairly decent laptop. It's a Pentium 3, I think it's a 450 megahertz, and it is upgraded with 256 megabytes of RAM. And I also installed a 40 gigabyte hard drive because I want to dual boot it with OS2, and this fully is supported with the OS2 operating system. So it was fairly cheap. I think this was, I want to say maybe $80 Canadian, but I don't really remember. But yeah, it's I don't know. I like it. I am keeping an eye out for older ThinkPads, like the 486 ones. But yeah, this is a neat laptop for playing some of those other types of games that I've got where I don't need really old hardware. And it saves me the space, so I don't have to build a full PC tower to run my Windows 98 games. So yeah, I'm happy with this. I think the last thing I was going to bring up, in one of my previous videos, I mentioned that I bought a VGA to USB to try and do video capture from my older computers. I tried using that on the laptop that I just showed you, and the frame rate was so bad, I realized there was no way it was going to work. I was getting like 6 frames a second. There was not possible to capture video games, like gameplay, to do that at all. So what I did end up doing, I bought this. This is the AverMedia Live Gamer Portable. I really didn't do a whole lot of research into this. This was mostly an impulse buy because I had a bunch of money sitting in my PayPal account that I wasn't going to do anything with. This cost me, I believe it was 150 Canadian dollars, and it was from a Canadian seller as well. It was new in box, and I think that was even cheaper than from the American sellers, and cheaper, obviously, than going to the store and buying it. What this does is it has HDMI input and output as well as your audio input and output to capture, I think it'll do up to 1080 resolution at 30 frames a second. And obviously I don't need that high of a resolution, but I was looking for something that would do that frame rate, just obviously with a lower resolution. So this is what I used to record my last YouTube video, and it was 1024 by 768 resolution, and I think it did full capture at 30 frames a second. And if you want to see for yourself, you can take a look at that video, but I think it actually worked perfectly for that purpose. So I will be using this to do all of my capture from all of my old computers from VGA. And specifically need to mention this about the VGA. To convert your HDMI to VGA, this is the adapter thing that I've got. So this plugs into the VGA port on the back of the computer I'm recording. This converts it to an HDMI connection. Now this also requires power, so this is like an extra USB cable that needs to be plugged in order to power this device. Now the next problem is this would obviously replace the monitor on the computer I'm using. Now, this wasn't a problem on the laptop because the LCD still works as this is plugged into the VGA port. So that was kind of like another bonus, which made me glad that I did buy that IBM ThinkPad laptop. But if I'm using this to record the VGA off any of these other old computers, I'm then going to have to convert the HDMI out back to VGA so I could run it to the input on the monitors. Because I do use LCD monitors for my vintage stuff here, but they don't have HDMI input. They're all like DVI or VGA, so I'd have to convert this back to that connection in order to see what I'm doing as I'm capturing my video. So, but yeah, this is like the giant mess of crap. I have to have my headphones on and plugged into the audio out as I'm doing my video, so I need to be able to hear it because this cable would be plugged into the audio out on the laptop. But it did work out pretty good, and I am actually quite pleased with this. So yeah. Hey everyone, I'm Paul. I'm just going to spend a few minutes rambling on about YouTube and my channel in particular. You'll notice that I don't have any sort of upload schedule. This is because it takes me a long time to get any video content ready, especially during the summer months. I spend most of my time out of my house, so I don't really get a whole lot done for videos. You can expect me to get some more uploads ready through this winter. I do have a number of video ideas I will be looking into. Now to talk about YouTube in general, my channel, I don't channel, and this isn't really a big deal for me. When I make my videos, I make them for me. So the way I film my stuff is how I'd want to see these videos if I was browsing online looking for this sort of content. So I won't use any like stupid ass clickbait titles that are all in caps lock and very vague, so you have to watch to find out what it is. And then when you click the video, you've got 10 minutes of shout outs to who the hell cares, and then you've got 1 minute of just shit content, and then that's the end of the video. No, I don't want to watch stuff like that, therefore I will not make stuff like that. The stuff that I make on my channel will be pretty much, well, aside from random rambling crap like this, it'll all be the content specifically mentioned in the title of the video, and the title will be as specific as I can make it. The way the YouTube algorithm, I believe, works is they care only about ad revenue. So it's unlikely that you'll see videos from myself ever recommended to you on YouTube. It's because I don't really generate ad revenue for YouTube at all. I think most of the people who come across my videos do so from Google searches. And they, let's say if you search for SGI Indie, you know, you might come across my video that I made on the SGI Indie. And that's probably because I called it SGI Indie. So because of that, I don't really care if I have a huge subscriber base or if I get a lot of likes on my videos. You know, I'm not gonna go on and ask you to subscribe. I'm not gonna tell you to smash the like button and ring the bell or whatever the hell people are saying. Honestly, I don't really care. The fun for me is making the video because I get to play with all of the old equipment. So I just kind of want to share that with other people who are pretty much exactly like myself. And I'll watch a lot of videos about this sort of thing and channels on YouTube, but I won't necessarily subscribe to them. I'll just, you know, find videos posted on Reddit or something like that and watch them, but I don't really care a whole lot about following them on YouTube. So I'm the same way. I don't really care if you subscribe or like my videos. I'm obviously not going to stop you if you want to do that, but the way I present my videos, I expect most of my traffic to come from direct searches online for that content. So I really don't care about YouTube and its community. But yeah, subscribing will probably inform you of any of my uploads faster if that's how the system works. So yeah, but it really doesn't matter to me that much. So yeah, for now that summer is over, I will be working on a lot of videos. Got a number of projects on the go. PowerMac 6100. Somehow in storage my motherboard broke, so I have one that I already ordered on eBay coming in. I want to do a video on this one because it has the DOS card. I need to do a video on the 486 that you have that you see down here. I do also have a Motorola PowerPC system that was designed to run like Solaris and Windows NT, and I have Windows NT 4 installed on it. I made a blog post about that on one of my other sites. I want to do a video on that just because it's such a bizarre and rare system that you don't really come across a whole lot these days. So I want to do a video on that. But yeah, the main reason that I don't have a whole lot of uploads is because it takes so long to do this. This is a corner of my bedroom, like that's my bed right there. I have no room whatsoever to do this stuff. My camera set up, plus all the lights, it kind of hangs across the entrance to my bedroom, so I can't leave it set up because it blocks me coming and going. So that also takes up time. My camera, while it's a pretty neat camera, it is older and it records to tape. And I have to use, when I capture it to the computer, it goes over FireWire, and it actually has to play back at normal speed to capture to the computer. And then once it's in the computer, it's in a format that my video editing program won't read. So on a video like this, which is like 30 or 40 minutes long, it'll take my computer about 2 hours to convert it to a usable format before I can even start editing. And then once I'm finished editing, it'll probably take, I don't know, another 4 to 6 hours for my computer to actually render the final product. So, you know, a video like this where there's no planning involved, it still takes upwards of like 6 to 8 hours to actually complete the thing. It's just annoying delays for this process for me. But I don't think I really have anything else to talk about. Yeah, I'll try to get some more videos going, and if you want to subscribe and watch for the videos, that's perfectly fine by me, but I'm not going to beg for subscribers. This is not making videos is not a job for me. This is strictly a hobby. I make $0 doing these videos, and I'm okay with that. I have a real job where I wake my ass up in the morning and I drive there and I get paid to do work. So this is 100% a hobby. I don't want this to turn into a job because that would mean my hobby has then become work. And nobody likes doing work. So this will stay a hobby. I don't care if I never make money on it. Not a big deal for me. So anyway, that's just me rambling on about YouTube and my channel. So thanks for watching.